Hi, Tile from Interfidelity here at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest CanJam 2014. I'm walking down the aisleway, and guess what I see? One of my favorite people in the world in terms of developing unique and unusual products, who's gone back to the drawing board with his in-ear monitors and producing in his own inimitable way something really quite extraordinary. George Cardas, it's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, so you've got these great new in-ear monitors coming out. Why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Well, this is, I guess, what we would call my second generation, but there's probably 30 generations in between that I didn't care to share with all of you.
Yeah.
But many of the innovations in this were actually rooted out of the criticism of yours truly.
Yeah, thanks.
And such as the 45-degree connector and a very unique cable.
Really nice cable.
The cable is really amazing.
Yeah, very beautiful. And the yellow one as well here?
Yeah. And this one, like I said, was for the Pono people because they do everything. They want to do everything in yellow. My personal one, I think I'm going to go with the blue.
Yeah.
So we addressed the microphonics, the lightness of the cable, and but most of all, we adjust the motor, and we found that in the end that the problems in these motors related to the pole pieces in them. And the 5813, our original model, we had a very special pole piece that was a donut with a split in it, and it was made out of material that you would use in a solenoid in a car or something. And it was all trying to address the pole issue, which it did pretty well. But in the end, we found a way to replace the pole. We actually make a pole, and it's isotropic magnetic material that's layered in such a way that the magnetic field is shaped like an umbrella. In other words, there's a north pole on the bottom, and then it's south on the outside.
All around the outside. Mm-hmm.
So now you no longer have permeable material in the center of the core. When we did this, the impedance went flat. The motor is linear, literally to zero. And the cohesiveness from the bottom up is extremely good because the transient energy is there, which it isn't in a pole piece motor.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, bottom line is they sound awesome.
Cool. So I have to say, I really admired George's work on his previous inner products, and they were kind of heavy, and I had some problems along those lines. And when he went back to the drawing board and did these, I just spent a few minutes listening to it, and I really liked the sound because I tend to like this sort of an old school sound. I really liked the sound of the original ones, but this is taking it another step. They're quite a bit more articulate and, as you say, flatter. The other ones were a little rolled up on top and on bottom, but this was really an extraordinarily good sounding IEM.
Yeah, something else we do. I mean, there's a lot of little details here. One of which is this thing here. So you can hang a cell phone from this or anything. You can't get this out of your ear.
Right.
Whereas most of the tips and stuff are either like the comply or whatnot, which tend to be hot and uncomfortable and just kind of weird, But they work for some people. Or the rest of them are over half hemispheric, so they kind of curve around a little ball, so they pop out of your ear.
Yeah.
Where this is an umbrella-shaped tip that, when it tries to come out, it opens like an umbrella and seals around the inside of your ear. So, I mean, we've worked that out, and it's silicone, and it looks very much like other things like this, but it's got a little slightly different shape that really made it work a lot.
And when are we going to start to be able to see these become available?
CES, they'll be plentiful by then. In the meantime, I'm just busy trying to catch up with OEM and one thing or another. So we're basically in production now, but they're not plentiful.
Right.
By CES, we should have them, lots of them.
Cool. And the expected price point?
$299.
Excellent. Well, George, fabulous job. As I say, I thought it sounded pretty darn good. I maybe have a little bit more bass in it, but I tend to like things a little warm anyway. But wow, I mean, I was wowed by them again. And
is it an official pretty darn good?
Yeah, this is an official pretty darn good. These were pretty darn good, and I'm gonna, after I get off and turn this off, I'm gonna wring his neck a little bit and try to get a pair of these up in Montana for some listening. Thanks so much, George. I'm so glad you're sitting in there hacking away at it and keep coming up with doing things your way, because I while I tend to be a scientist, I also appreciate the imagination and a person willing to have a hands-on touch to things and sort of an intuitive approach. And I don't see anything wrong with that approach, because after all, what matters in the end is the sound. And if it sounds good,
I'll tell you something. I've been in this business for 30 years now or something, long time. And after a while, you start to become complacent or something. And the thing that's really brought me to life is CanJam, basically. I love these people. I love the enthusiasm and the spirit that's flowing in this group of people worldwide,
Yeah.
Because basically you've got something that's very musical. It is accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
And it doesn't require a big room or and so on. And I've always been into the music. And, one thing or another, and I feel this is a contribution I do joyously. I love to make progress.
No, and I appreciate it. All right. Well, cool. Thanks, George.
All right, man.
We'll see you down the road. And we'll see you guys at the next booth.